Welcome back, folks. Now, if you haven't heard, 9.18 will hit the live servers for North America on April 18th, which is next Tuesday. So 5 days from now, North America will receive the revamp for artillery, the light tanks, and the matchmaker. And that's pretty soon, that's pretty quick. So what this means is, there's probably not going to be any more micro patches or iterations of the test server. So mostly all the stuff on the test server is going to be put live onto the live server for North America in 5 days. So for this video, I want to talk about the most recent micro patch, the third iteration for the test server, as well as the second iteration, the mega nerf, or not mega, the nerf to the light tanks last week, to see if light tanks are still viable before the release. So here you can see the news that North American server will receive this patch on April 18th. Russian servers will receive a week later, about. So basically we're the guinea pigs, or the lab rat, to test out this patch. It's pretty funny, but here is the first iteration. I already showed you guys the translated patch notes about light tanks, about artillery, yada yada. Here is last week's nerf to the light tanks. No more artilleries in platoons, so you cannot platoon and perma stun. That's not fair. So that's a problem, but at least they thought about it, I guess. So here is the nerf. I'll talk about this, but here is today's third iteration of 9.18. So this fixed one of the big issues from the second iteration, which is basically the ammo count for light tanks. So the ammo count nerf from the second iteration was a little bit too much, and this rebalanced it, so basically adding a little bit more shots for the light tanks. So okay, but yeah, 24 rounds for the AMX 13105, that's ridiculous. So I took a look at the second iteration, and most of the stuff is not that bad. I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad if you base on one aspect of the vehicle, but you have to look at the vehicle in general, overall. But the view range nerf, yeah, it was pretty good for light tanks to have like 430 meters of view range or something, or 440. That was crazy. So it got nerfed again, and that seemed about okay. So if light tanks view range were better, a lot better than medium tanks, then nobody would play medium tanks. Nobody would play medium tanks without DPM. So light tanks had the DPM, had the view range, and basically just squeezed out medium tanks, since they don't even need the armor if you don't get spotted based on the camera rating. And if you're fast enough with the DPM, then who the hell needs mediums, right? So medium tanks are very good right now, based on their power level, based on the meta. So light tanks will feel close to the mediums, I believe. But let's take a look at the patch notes first before we make the judgment. So Spähpanzer RU-251, less view range, 420 to 410. That's not much. 1 more second to reload. Not that much. It's a little bit rough, but not that big of a deal. Alright, Spähpanzer SP1C, 10 meter less view range, but remember, it lost the autoloader. So it lost the 90mm autoloader of 3 rounds, which does kinda suck. So that's like 720 alpha burst from the 20 seconds of reload, which was pretty good-ish, but the DPM on this vehicle was not that great, so that's a trade-off of using it. But less view range now, so yeah, alright. Panzerwagen, less alpha, 405. Alright, high explosive anti-tank has less alpha as well. Penetration got reduced for the high explosive. Wait, change penetration. Well, actually, not reduced. What the hell am I talking about? It's actually pretty decent. 120mm high explosive squash head? It's a German tank. Probably high explosive plastic. But that's pretty good. That's like Panzer M41 Bulldog with the HEP, the high explosive plastic. Don't forget, that's actually a buff. But view range got nerfed from 430 to 420. That's not bad. I mean, the patent has 420. That's the best view range in the game, but this vehicle has the speed, has the maneuverability of like 44 horsepower per ton ratio or 41 with better terrain resistance than the patent. So what's to complain about? The HWK12 has less DPM, longer reload. Yep, it's alright. It's small stuff. Did not change the view range. Alright. 59 minus 16. Less view range from 380 to 360. Tier 6 mediums have an average of 365-ish. No, 355-ish. So that's okay. That's not bad. I mean, 380 meters of view range at tier 6. You just outspot the KV-85, the T-150s, and they're basically dead in the water. So it's fine. The Sherman tanks have 370 meters of view range. So that's okay, but this vehicle is a light tank, has the camo on the move. So balance, I guess. And doesn't face like tier 9s anymore. So it's okay. WZ131. Less view range from 390 to 370. That's okay. That's not good, but that's alright. It's like the Comet. Comet has 380, I believe. It's okay. It's workable. It's not that big of a difference, like dramatic shift. It's not like 50% less view range. But some of these vehicles did receive an engine buff. So better horsepower per ton ratio now. A lot better. So that's from the first iteration, but it's workable. 370, that's the average for mediums. It's workable. WZ132, view range 380, would be better at 390, but it's still workable. But lower DPM, yeah. Well, I mean, it still face tier 10s. It's not like it doesn't face tier 10s anymore, but it will face tier 6 now. So it just basically squash Shermans or T-34-85s. I guess that's fine, I guess. Yeah, I mean, you basically just overkill tier 6s with your better view range. Yeah, it should be a little bit, yeah. Think about it that way, yeah. Balance. WZ132A, less DPM as well. Alright, but this view range is a little bit dramatic. That's 30 meters of a change. I mean, if it changed to like 400, it would be perfect, but 420 initially was a little bit too much. So I believe 400 would be a little bit better, but 390 is not that bad, so meh. Alright, WZ132-1, reload of the L7 got nerfed, so it takes longer. View range got nerfed, but 400 meters, that's like the Russian mediums. The Object 140 and T62A, that's 400 meters of view range. T62A has 410, right? Or 400, one of the which. 400. It's the same as the Object 140. Alright, but ammo capacity got negated slightly from the third iteration, so less than 4 rounds. Yeah, 4 rounds got nerfed, but not that much. MT25 view range the same. LTTB view range the same. This is at tier 8 now, so tier 8, it's workable. Meh. T54 lightweight, workable. 390, less DPM, yeah, obviously. LTG, that's the Igor at tier 7. A little bit iffy for the tier 7, but it's the Igor, so it's blind. Well, preferably 370, but that's a little bit rough. So, I mean, it is fast of a vehicle, so I guess that's fine. T100 light tank, crap your accuracy from the gun. Ooh, 0.46 accuracy, but I did take a look at the dispersion on the move. It's a lot better for the dispersion on average, but basically what this means is this vehicle is inaccurate, but it's more consistent at being inaccurate, whereas other vehicles are accurate, but not that consistent. So basically vehicles like the STB-1, yeah, the gun's alright, 0.35 accuracy, but it's not consistent. Sometimes you will miss, and quite often. So I did struggle a lot with 105 on the STB1, so that's a problem. But yeah, it's inaccurate, but it's more consistent with the inaccuracy. Alright, so change the damage, yada yada, for all the shells. Reduce the shell to 38 rounds. Alright, it's still workable. T50, yep. Less view range. It's a tier 6 now, right? No, that's the MT25. Tier 5 now. So for tier 5, average view range, it's fine. T49, change the reload of the 90mm by 0.1 second, not that much. Reload for the second turret, a little bit, 0.4, 0.35 seconds. View range 10 meters less, not that much, so this is not that big of a deal. Whereas from 420 to 390, that's a big deal. 30 meters is a lot more than obviously 10 meters, but hey, American vehicles have a lot more view range, so American bias, I guess. T71, less view range, yada yada. The Sheridan ammo capacity got changed, but not that much, so alright. Damage got changed for the 105. Okay, fine, that's fine. View range, yeah. 420 is still a lot, so still decent. Change the view range of the M7 medium to a light now, so that's still a medium's view range at tier 5. Yeah, that's still pretty good for a tier 5 medium. Chafee, still, yeah, relevant. Alright, T21. That's pretty good actually for a tier 6 light. That's very good. Because the average now is like 360 or something. That's good. See, 360 for the T37. So a lot of players would basically stat pad with this vehicle. So it's actually, that's a stock turret. The better turret is 370. So that's still relevant. That's like American mediums, like the Sherman EZ8 or the Jumbo second turret. So relevant. Bulldog. So what's really pissing me off about this whole second iteration and all the nerf is to this vehicle, specifically to the autoloader. So they changed number of shells from 10 to 6 and still have the same reload, actually slower reload by 2 seconds. Or the stock turret, not the upgraded turret, but still the reload is the same, but you have 4 less rounds. So basically your DPM is crap. We'll talk about this with the actual stats, but this is one of those vehicles that got shafted with this nerf. Like really shafted. Like the KV-1S to the KV-85. You don't even use the 122 D25T anymore. It's useless compared to the normal single shot or the 100mm. Yeah, it's useless now. So shafted. Alright. AMX 12T view range, average. Tier 8 into tier 9. Tier 9, this is a little bit iffy. Would be preferable to have 390 for the tier 9 AMX 1390, but I mean, it has the same view range as the tier 8 now, the batch at 12T. So it does seem the AMX series is still in need of help, especially with the AMX 13105. I'll still talk about this, but they changed the DPM as well. So less DPM, less view range, also, 390. Graph. I mean, compare this vehicle to the batch at 25T, you might as well play the batch at 25T, right? So let's take a look at actual stats. So here you can see with the ammo count, that's basically the difference. And they added the route from the light tanks back to the mediums now. So you don't have to waste all your XP on researching mediums before you research the lights. But let's take a look at the actual stats. So let's talk about speed and maneuverability first before we actually talk about the actual stats. Now here is the E25 on the test server. So it's the same. You already know this vehicle is very fast. If you already play medium tier vehicles like the Shermans or the KV-85s or the T-29s, you probably already faced this vehicle. You probably already got annoyed by this thing being super sneaky, being super fast, and take a look at the actual stats. The terrain resistance is not even that good. It's 1.15 for hard, 1.25 for medium, and 2.21 for soft. That's like a fast heavy or a crappy medium's terrain resistance at high tiers. It has only 26.62 horsepower per ton ratio, and that was pretty good for this vehicle, right? But let's take a look at the Revamp Panzerwagen, and you can see the 44 horsepower per ton ratio with even better terrain resistance. Yeah, sure, the gun's not that punchy as a medium tank's gun, but hell, take a look at the top speed, take a look at the terrain resistance, and compared to the E25, this thing is a rocket. 44 horsepower per ton ratio, this is nothing to scoff at, especially with the terrain resistance. Trying to hit this thing while it's on the move is going to be very difficult, especially with that traverse. So yeah, a lot of players complain, oh, you're reducing the view range to like what, 420 now? Oh, it's so bad now. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you stupid? Are you mental? It has 420 meters view range, put coated optics, put like, I don't know, vents on it, put vertical stabilizer. Hell, this thing is so good at shooting on the, well, not, don't quote me on that. It's so good at moving and spotting that, yeah, it's a lot faster than the E25. It can just get to the spotting positions initially without even doing anything to get spotted. It has the camo on the move as well. So basically your crew skills in camo works while on the move. So it has a lot of camo, more than the E25 on the move. But yeah, so what makes the E25 annoying was it gets to the initial spotting positions initially faster than your vehicles. It outspots you and start laying down the fire. So if it already has that kind of speed with this kind of horsepower per ton ratio and terrain resistance, imagine that with a lot better horsepower per ton ratio and terrain resistance and view range, because 420 compared to your 360. Ugh. So no question, these things will easily spot you, but don't shoot on the move. That's crappy dispersion. 0.17, that's worse than the STB1. So it's a side issue, but don't shoot on the move. Still decent accuracy-ish. Penetration is still relevant, and DPM is not that bad. It's slightly worse. 121B for the new T22 medium tank. Ew. Stigmata, but yeah, it's not that bad. 420 meters of view range, you would look at this thing and think, yeah, that sucks. No, 420 is relevant. It's good. Combine that with the horsepower per ton ratio. Are you kidding me? Now, 420 is not the same as 440, so fuck you. So yeah, that's the speed, but let's take a look at something like the Panzer 1C. 22 at, yeah, better than the E25's terrain resistance, but still no comparison to the Revamp Panzerwagen, and a lot more horsepower per ton ratio. About twice as much. So yeah, Panzer 1C, fast vehicle, pretty good to turn. This thing has twice the horsepower per ton ratio. You kidding me? Alright, let's take a look at the BT7. Yeah, 33. Pretty good. Pretty crappy soft terrain resistance, but and pretty good turning. This thing has 44. Alright. The fastest original based on horsepower per ton ratio is the BT2. So 41, alright. But terrain resistance still kinda crap. So this thing will feel like a very fast tier 3 vehicle with a relatively good gun for a light tank, and it's fast, and it has camo on the move, and it has the view range. What more do you want? Like armor? You're asking too much. So whoever thought that, oh yeah, less view range, oh no, the light tanks are not as viable as mediums, the fuck you're talking about? I don't know, but think about it for yourself, guys. It has the speed. it has the view range. The view range is not bad, 420. Some vehicles it's a little bit iffy, like the WZ132A or 132-1 with the 390. Yeah, it's a little bit iffy for those vehicles. So I would prefer if these vehicles have, well, 400 meters, I forget. W132A, that's the tier 9. Whoops. So I would prefer that tier 9s may receive a little bit more view range, but vehicles like the WZ 390, it's okay. It's still workable, but I have only one problem with this patch. Actually, two problems. So the first problem is this vehicle right here, the AMX-13105. So compare this vehicle to the Batchat 25T. It's a little bit iffy. So I took a look at the actual stats. Here is the in-game comparison, but let's do the actual comparison right here. So Batchat 25T. So make this into a new window and we'll compare it with the AMX-13105. So as you can see, yeah, top speed about the same, reverse speed about the same, horsepower per ton ratio, yeah, it's not as good as the AMX-13105, but still, about 30 is still, you know, not to be underestimated. It's not like dramatically different, such as the Patton to the Sheridan. The Patton has like 17 horsepower per ton ratio. The XM551 Sheridan has like 41. That's dramatically different. This is not that dramatically different, so it will feel slightly slower for the Batchat 25T, but not that much. Terrain resistance, the same. Gun elevation is a little bit better on the AMX-13105, and same goes for the gun depression, but that's the only thing a little bit better about the AMX-13105. The gun angles. It has less ammo at 28 rounds or something. Let's take a look with the patch notes. So AMX-13105 for this patch, 1390. Oh, there it is, 30 rounds. So back to 30. It was at 33. But yeah, the same amount of rounds as the Batchat 25T. Dispersion is slightly better, but accuracy is not as good. Yeah, less shell in the clip, but faster to reload, less DPM. So why would you ever want to play with the AMX-13105 when you could play with the Batchat 25T? That's the main question. So I mean, usually when you take a look at the comparison for the vehicles, the light tanks to the mediums, you can see a dramatic difference in the horsepower per ton ratio right here. So it's about 17 for the Patton. It's about 42 or 42 for the Sheridan. That's dramatic. Same goes for the Leopard 1 to the Panzerwagen, about 21 to 44. Yep. Take a look at the T62A to the T100, 48 to about 16. But yeah, the horsepower per ton ratio from the AMX-13105 to the Batchat 25T is not that much different. So that's the only vehicle I would like to see this patch buffed. So the AMX-13105 was originally on the sandbox server not that popular with the players because it was relatively slow. It got buffed, but still felt a little bit short in comparison to the popular Batchat 25T. So that's the original issue with this patch for me, because there's no separation. Normally the light tanks is a little bit different based on the horsepower per ton ratio, but yeah, take 36 for the WZ 132-1 and about 15 for the 121. So yeah, I mean, the only problem is this vehicle, the AMX-13105, and our Bulldog right here. So move to a new window. So on 9.17.1, that's the autoloader. On 9.18, what 9.8? 9.17.1 to 9.18. Getting confused, Sam. So DPM, as you can see, dramatically shafted. So 6 rounds in the clip compared to 10, the same reload. With the same accuracy, same dispersion, slightly better dispersion on the move, but less top speed, better horsepower per ton ratio, same terrain resistance, god awful DPM. I mean, this gun with the 10 rounds of 76 is pretty good. It's actually amazing. You one clip any tier 6, yeah, any tier 6, any tier 7, even tier 8 heavy tanks. No problem. As long as you circle strafe and they cannot hit you, you one shot. One clip, actually. A lot of the vehicles of your same tier or below. But is it too good? Yeah, it was too good. That's what made it special, but they nerfed it to 6 rounds. 6 rounds of 150 damage. That's 900. So, yeah, you don't one-shot tier 8s anymore. You do one-shot tier 7 tank destroyers and below, but it's unlikely that you one-shot tier 7 mediums. They have about 1,100 health or so. It's a tier 8 light. It does suck for those who already have it. So, I mean, the normal gun is actually pretty decent. The normal one-shot, single shot, is relatively good. Not that one. This one. So compare this to the original, that one. Yeah, slightly less DPM, but you're a tier higher with better horsepower per ton ratio. Yeah, not that bad. Better dispersion on the move, same gun depression and whatever. So the single shot works. Not for the autoloader. Not nearly as close. The autoloader got shafted. So it's like the D25T for the original KV-1S, now KV-85. It's not even worthwhile anymore. It's god awful. 6 rounds compared to 10. Bleh. But that's just me. So you could play this vehicle, it just takes the same time to reload. But I thought about this patch. I thought about the light tanks to the mediums. Not that much different. I mean, they're still pretty good. They're still pretty fast. The view range nerf was relevant because if you have more view range for the light tanks, nobody will play the mediums. None. Why would you ever want to play with the mediums if you have more view range and more speed? You just outspot anything and out DPM with the old gun, but they nerfed the gun and they nerfed the view range. But it's as to be expected because the medium tanks are just okay. They're very good. But if you have even better vehicles, then nobody would play medium tanks. It's the same debate with the heavy tanks. If heavy tanks have more DPM, or about the same DPM as medium tanks, then nobody would play medium tanks anymore. Or if heavy tanks have the same view range as mediums with the same DPM, nobody would play with mediums. Obsolete. So in essence, light tanks are still relevant. They're still pretty good. 420 meters of view range, nothing to scoff at. Not even close to scoff at. So yeah, don't believe those people who say, oh, medium tanks and light tanks does pretty much the same job, but mediums have more armor and more DPM, so just play medium. Those people don't even know what the hell they're talking about. Those are the same people who told you that the AC1 Sentinel is a good tank. It's not. Those who are the ones that told you the Object 252U is not that OP. What the hell they're talking about. And those are probably the same people who bought the KV-122 for the hell of it. What the fuck? So, don't believe whatever you hear. Make a decision for yourself, but based on initial stats, from my point of view, light tanks are still very relevant. Have you ever seen a 44 horsepower per ton ratio vehicle with very good terrain resistance? You haven't. I haven't. At high tiers, it's like playing a tier 3 light tank zooming around and you can't even shoot the bastard with your 170mm Yak Panzer E100 gun. Oh yeah, I have a big large ass gun. Can't hit a fly. So yeah, make the decision on this patch yourself, but in general, don't underestimate light tanks. Speed is very important. It's one of the corners of the triangle of power. You have firepower, you have speed, and you have armor. So don't even laugh at mobility. Oh, laugh at, ooh, less view range by 20 meters. Oh my god, light tanks are not viable anymore. They're useless. Blah, 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 blah. What the fuck are you talking about? Have you even played the game? Have you ever played light tanks? I don't know. So, there you go, folks. Just my 2 cents, but yeah, this patch, I'm looking forward to it because it actually buff light tanks, it buff artillery because you can actually finish artillery personal missions a lot easier now. You can finish light tanks personal mission a lot easier now. And therefore, that's 2 of the 4 vehicle classes you need to get to the final reward vehicle. Assuming that you finish the heavy tanks and the tank destroyers. Medium tanks are still pretty RNG based. So stupid. 4,000 damage to tank destroyers only. So god awful mission. Tried that for like 2 years now. Oh god, terrible. So there you go, folks. 9.18 hitting the live servers for North America on April 18th. So I can't wait. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.